Hey guys, welcome everyone to the live stream. We're going to watch the decisive match, sort of, between Lukáš Souček and Jakub Fojtík from the last round of the Czech Open 2024. This is my, first and only broadcast from this tournament. Unfortunately, I simply did not have more options to do so. I'm going to talk a little bit more later on about the tournament, as the players are playing with 1 hour time control, so there will be plenty of time to discuss other things besides the position. On the screen right now you can see that Lukáš Souček and Jakub Fojtík, aka Boneslash and Voigtman, are getting ready to start. They are in the middle of filling out their protocols. And I believe after a little bit of delay, they just had lunch break, as far as I know. They should start any minute now. So, Boneslash is going to put the opening, and it looks like the match has just started. Let's see what opening he is going to pick for this very important game, where he can, with a good performance, finish first. I already see that in the chat section Mikinka is cheering for Bone. I'm kind of cheering for both of them, to be fair, because I'm friends with Bone for one. I'm also friends with Voigtman for two. But most importantly, Voigtman is not usually a medal, like he doesn't usually have a chance for a medal, and now he has 5 points out of 6 games. That's an incredibly good performance by him. He defeated Miroslav Hasha in the first round, which is a great performance, although I haven't seen the game. I'm pretty sure that it was a great performance because Greggy is a great player, so it takes definitely some efforts to defeat him in any game. There we have the opening. Let me try and recreate it. The coordinates should be clear. This one, then the white here. It looks like this. So this is the opening Lukáš Souček has sided with for this very important last round game. I'm pretty sure that Jakub Fojtík is not going to risk here much. That's basically not really his style to be risking a lot. So therefore, I'm expecting him to put a swap to in any case. That is my exception. Even if maybe there's a very good chance Bonsish is just bluffing with this opening. There's apparently a very good chance. I would, if I had to play this, the first stages of solving such an opening would be you are trying to find a connection here with the white stones. You're thinking of a move like L9 to block this diagonal threat, but That looks a bit tricky, because if this gets played k12, let me show it. It could get a little tricky. With a block like this, you will further need to defend, and the lines you will need to calculate are going to increase. So, but if you don't play it, but for example play something like this, so that now you block like this, it could work. However, this changes to this, and now if you want to block here, you get overline, which is funny, and now black could create a winning opportunity up there. So it's really not that simple. Such quick solutions are not working here clearly. Secondly, if you don't find anything near the white stone that could work for any black attempts, then you also need to think, because this is very close to the edge, right? You also need to think of moves like this, for example. These are tricky usually, because oftentimes there is a pretty good black answer to one of these, otherwise the opening is just unbalanced. Not sure about this opening in question, but that's just how the way it is. Secondly, you can also think of a different way to block this, because you will need to think of M10, how to use M10. And there might be another way if you play on this line, this vertical line, horizontal line. And if black tries this, you can play here, and then it's tricky again. So definitely a lot of calculating would be needed to properly solve the opening. Regardless, I'm still pretty sure that Jakub Fojtík is going to take his time and put a swap to this opening, because that's just the safer and more rational option, really. When you are so close to winning the Czech Open, you don't want to risk or gamble, because really, as I've said, this would require quite some calculating, which I'm not really sure he would risk trying even. He should just go find a solid swap to and play the game. I believe that could work out well for him. Of course, as I have mentioned, the time control is 1 hour plus, I don't know, 15 seconds maybe. Not sure about it. Or maybe just 5. Anyhow, um, a lot of time to think about it. So, as long as he's thinking about it, let's talk a little bit more about the tournament itself, because, well, I've been, I wouldn't say bombarded with questions, but I got some. Mainly about why there are no posts on Gomoku World, why I'm not streaming, also why I'm not there. So, in that order, well, I discussed it. Bonslish told me that he may be the main organizer this time, so I arranged it with him that he would send me snapshots of each round. He sent me for the first round, and then he had some issues, and then I wasn't getting any info. All my info were from players present there. For example, Lukáš from Poland, who is currently fighting against Maciej Holub from Czechia. Some info from Boneslash throughout the tournament, but as I have mentioned, he had some issue in the middle of the tournament that required his attention, so I am understanding that he could not send those infos. An hour ago, just after the end of the 6th round, I was added to the group chat of Czech Open 2024, so now I have the chance to actually check that group chat and maybe try to find previous rounds results there, which I attempt to do, to be fair, because first off, I'm curious about it. Secondly, I believe most people are that texted me about it. And yeah, we have plenty of time to do that. So let me try and find some info in this group chat. So, first round results were posted. Let's not talk about those. Okay, I don't have the results of the second round. I only see the pairings. Anyhow, I know that in the second round, uh, Piotr Malowejski from Poland defeated Petr Žižka, and I know that Bogdan Brahacek, also from Poland, defeated Lukáš Souček, which is so far the only lost game for Boneslish in this tournament. And with this being the last round, if he wins now, it could stay like that. Whilst for Petr Žižka, well, he must have lost some other games because he only has 3 points after 6 rounds. Okay, in the third round, I can see that Łukasz Meixner defeated Paweł Laube. That is something I posted on Gomoku World because he told me, but not a lot of info overall. Anyhow, Bogdan Brahacek defeated Stepan Tesajic there in some very late endgame blunder. At least I was informed like that. So definitely for Bogdan Brahacek, aka BBJ, playing a lot of Blitz games in Monday Blitz evenings and also in the Team World Blitz Championship 2024, it really paid off for him because, as you will realize, this was not his only game that he managed to win in the end game in time trouble, thanks to his excellent blitz skills. In the fourth round, we had Igor Eged defeating Lukáš Meixner after an interesting game. There was an addition of 2 stones, and after that, some misplay, but both of them missed some line, and then the game developed in a way that Lukáš Meixner managed to build a nice advantage and possibly a winning position, but in time trouble, he lost the game eventually, which meant that after 4 rounds, Igor Eged from Slovakia was the sole leader of the competition. He was the only one with max score. In the same round, in the same fourth round, Miroslav Hasha defeated Bogdan Brahacek. I don't know about that game, but it looks like now I see that Paweł Laube, the current Gomoku World Champion, after losing to Łukasz Meixner, he also lost to Josef Holba, who is a young Czech Gomoku player. In this very same round, Lukáš Souček managed to defeat Maciej Holub, and Stepan Tesajic managed to defeat Piotr Malowejski. Jakub Fojtík collected another point here against Petr Žižka, so there were a lot of players with 3 points after just 4 rounds. And that was it for the first day of the Czech Open 2024. Now I'm gonna look for the pictures, the results from today in this group chat, where I can see that in the 5th round this morning, Lukáš Souček managed to outplay Igor Eged and win their game. Miroslav Hasha defeated Josef Holba, whilst Stepan Tesajic triumphed against Łukasz Meixner. Jakub Fojtík collected another very nice point here against Bogdan Brahacek, and that's it for the 5th round. After the fifth round, we had 5 players with 4 points. That is Jakub Fojtík, Miroslav Hása, Lukáš Souček, Szczepan Tesajic, and Igor Aged, and of course, plenty of players with just with 3 points. Then in the sixth round, so the previous one, we had Miroslav Hása defeating Igor Aged, Lukáš Souček winning against Szczepan Tesajic, Jakub Fojtík kept marching. This time he defeated Josef Holba. The world champion of Gomoku lost another match, this time against Bogdan Brahacek. I was told that it was again a crazy endgame with a very unclear position in which Bogdan managed to find a tight win in the corner area. Again, his excellent blitz skills and blitz experience paid off in that time trouble they had. He came out victorious against none other than the current reigning world champion of Gomoku. Very well done. It's a good tournament from Bogdan Brahacek. He did not participate in the tournament for a while, I believe. Anyhow, Maciej Holub defeated Petr Žižka, so Petr lost again. And now we have the seventh round. And before this round started, we had the standings where Jakub Fojtík is first thanks to his coefficients. He has 5 points, just like Lukáš Souček and Miroslav Hása, and that's the order because of the coefficients. From places 4th to 8th, we have players with 4 points: Bogdan Brahacek, Szczepan Tesajic, Lukáš Meixner, Igor Aged, and Maciej Holub as well. For a little bit of surprise, I guess, or big surprise, Pavel Lauba has only 3 points after 6 rounds, and we have a lot of other players with 3 points. For instance, Josef Holba, Petr Žižka, Piotr Malovejski, Alois Mikes, Madli Mirme from Estonia, and Jakub Moc. So we also have some newcomers there with 3 points. And now we are having the last round of the Czech Open ongoing. We can see that Voigtman has already put a white and a black stone next to his paper, so he has already made the decision of putting a swap 2, which in my opinion is the right decision here. Let's talk a little bit more about what other pairings are being played at this time. I believe there should be some live broadcasts without commentary on twitch.tv/bonexo. I'm not sure about it, but you should check. And also on youtube.com/@GomokuEurope, which is the channel run by Alois Mikes. There should be some match broadcasted there as well. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the match between Lukáš Meixner and Maciej Holub. So regarding the other pairings, on the second table, we have, let me see, we have Miroslav Hása opening against Szczepan Tesajic, a very exciting match. Both players are very strong Czech Gomoku players, so it's definitely a three-way match. On the third board, Bogdan Brahacek and Igor Aged are playing. Igor is without a win today after playing a perfect first day. He had 4 out of 4 on Saturday, and today on Sunday he has not scored just yet. So now is the time for him to try against the excellent Polish blitz player who is using his skills greatly in this 1 hour competition. Moving on the fourth table, we have Lukáš opening to Matěj Holub, which, as I've mentioned, is probably broadcasted on Gomoku Europe's YouTube channel. Then on the fifth table, we have Alois Mikes playing against Pavel Laube, and then Petr Žižka versus Jakub Moc, Piotr Maloveski versus Madlin Mirme, Josef Holba faces Martin Benovic, who I believe is some young Czech player, some newcomer, I guess. Then we have Kristina Kamarash from Hungary playing against David Hakel, who is presumably another newcomer, just like Petr Kuba, who is facing Csaba Kamarash. And then on the last board, on the 11th board, we have Mart Kohli from Estonia facing Petr Podolski. Well, that's it for the pairings for the last round. Now we are finally somewhat caught up with the happenings of the Czech Open 2024, and perfect timing from Jakub Fojtík. I just finished with it and he placed his 2 stones. There's his swap 2. Now he can have a short rest, and Lukáš Souček needs to evaluate this position, analyze it carefully, and make a pick. It could be an interesting swap too, although I'm afraid at a first glance it looks white to me with a move like this, because this line is kind of obstructed, right? So not a lot of room for it. This no longer has much of a value to it, but this could still be a little interesting. So maybe not with this continuation. Some calculating is definitely needed. With some positional move like this, it could even be black advantage. So it really depends on how you imagine playing it. But I believe after this J9, you have to find something that's good for this line. Surely there has to be something there that keeps it tamed. Maybe you can go simply here. I'm not sure. No, that should not work. That should not work. Anyhow, it appears that Lukáš Souček has 55 minutes to solve this swap to. Jakub spent 17 minutes of his time, which is nearly 1/3 of the 60 minutes he has for the game. On this swap too, I believe was a good idea. Overall though, I am not entirely sure if it's gonna work out super well. It looks a bit tricky. A bit tricky. Let me try and find something again. So playing like this, if I block this in the middle and up from up, you have to be prepared for a move like this. Okay, so maybe due to that, this is not the correct one, but instead, this could work better. Let's see. So, okay, of course, directly it's lost already, because look at that. If you play it directly, it's a VCF. But it could still very well be interesting, because tiny space here for black to create something. White has to be very precise. So this is a more than complicated swap too, I would say. Because this is, of course, is just the first good looking idea, but as you could see, there are some ways for black to attack. It's not that obvious. Maybe a defensive move like this could also be considered, but here again, black can take the initiative after a couple of moves in my opinion. And if you are even going here, for example, a more passive approach, then black can easily grab the initiative in the game. So now we shall see how deep Lukáš Souček can calculate into this position which color and which approach he is going to take here. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's gonna do with it. Pretty sure he's gonna use some of his time at least. He needs to use some of his time at least. Position is kind of complicated. It's a tricky nice addition of two stones from Jakub Fojtík. I'm also wondering what the current environmental conditions, so to speak, are how it's affecting the players. I have been told by multiple participants of the Czech Open 2024 that unfortunately in the playing hall where they are playing the match there is no air conditioning. Sandra also dedicated even a post to that after I believe one of the participants told her that. And well, there's surely above 30 degrees Celsius in Pardubice in Czech Republic where the tournament takes place, which could be challenging without AC because imagine playing in such a hot room, a lot of players in a room without AC in such a warm weather. That could also be challenging. They need to definitely pay attention to hydrating themselves and well sometime soon they will be over with it because this is the last round of Czech Open 2024. Well, as long as Lukáš Souček is still thinking for a bit, I'm gonna keep a short break. Obviously the time control is quite long. There's no way I'm just gonna talk for hours without much of happenings on the board. So I'll be back in like 5 minutes or so. So I'm back and it appears no decision yet. The clock of Lukáš Souček is still ticking. He is still analyzing the position, which is a good sign. It indicates he's taking it very seriously. Until he makes a decision, we can maybe talk about some historical data from the previous Czech Opens. The last time Lukáš Souček triumphed here was in 2021 when he won the tournament with 6 points, only losing in the last round to Stepan Tesajic, who finished second with 5 points. That time Petr Žižko was the third, also with 5 points, and Miroslav Haza, who also had 5 points, finished only fourth. And there were two players with 4.5 points finishing 5th and 6th respectively, Jakub and Pavlína Bretkova. So maybe after 2021, this could be the year of Lukáš Souček again, who is celebrating, by the way, his 10th anniversary of, I believe, playing Gomoku it is. His first tournament was Czech Open 2014, and this is his 10th anniversary. It would be very nice for him, of course, to get the gold medal and celebrate it on his 10th anniversary. Moving on, in 2022, so 2 years ago, Miroslav Hása triumphed with 6 points. He lost only to Pavel Laube in the 5th round, and Martin Höbemägi from Estonia finished 2nd, but he also had 6 points. He lost to Miroslav only. The 3rd spot was taken then by Maciej Holub with 5 points. He lost to Miroslav Hása and Stepan Tesajic, who finished 4th, also with 5 points just like Maciej. He lost to Miroslav and to Pavel Laube. Pavel Laube finished 5th in 2022 with 4.5 points. He lost to Martin Höbemägi, Maciej Holub, and had a draw against Igor Eged. Last year, it was a nice tournament. I was also there. It was my first ever Czech Open, hopefully not the last. That time Miroslav Hása triumphed again, and this year he also has an opportunity to win again. For example, if he beats Stepan Tesajic and the game between Lukáš Souček and Jakub Fojtík ends with a draw, then he would be the champion 3 times in a row, which would be fabulous. Last year he lost only to Petr Žižka and beat everyone, including me, in the last round. That was an interesting game for sure. I had 5.5 points on the 2nd place that year, having a draw in the 6th round with Gergő Tóth and losing to Miroslav in the last round. Whilst Gergő also had 5.5 points, he lost to Stepan Tesajic and had a draw with me. He did not play with Miroslav, but he finished 3rd. Lukáš Souček was 4th that year with 5 points, losing to Greggy and me. And now, as I see, there has been a decision. There has already been a decision. We can see that Lukáš Souček picked black, and a defensive approach from Jakub Fojtík, after which Lukáš Souček did not hesitate a lot. For K12 played by Voigtman, he quickly answers with K11, a strong positional move. As you can see, black has quite a few ways to link up its stones, its strategical advantage. Black has tempo. White needs to be passive for a little more, definitely, at least. This move could be viewed as a not bad one, but it gives you an overline on the J column, and even such moves could be considered after it, and even if that's not that, you can still move into the space. So it's gonna be interesting what approach Jakub Fojtík takes here, because even in spite of the overline, maybe this move is indeed something he needs to consider or even needs to play. Not a super easy position for him. He must be on the defensive end for quite a while now. It's surely black advantage, and overall I believe J12 will need to be played in spite of the overline, because J12 overall controls this area quite well, and this stone on J7 from the original opening controls this diagonal line with the edge effect. So an attack here, you know, if this is the progress, this is not going to be a 3. This is what I mean by controlling with the edge effect. Of course, this is unlikely to be the continuation, as after such a move white would definitely play here. Anyhow, we have an interesting game ahead for sure. Both of them will definitely do their very best to grab the match point, the full point, and with that, the gold medal. After 6 rounds, the best coefficients, slightly better, because the median Buchholz and the Buchholz were the same for both Jakub Fojtík and Lukáš Souček, but Jakub has half a point better Berger coefficient than Lukáš, and that is what currently separates them. But of course now they are playing against each other, so this could easily change. Again, a very passive approach we see on L10. The next move, black is almost surely, in my opinion, gonna answer with J10. It's really passive for me, and I'm not even sure how white can keep being in game after this. It looks not too good for white. J10 has to come, and then you cannot do a lot, because if you try to control the position like this move is coming. If you block up, there's simply this winning move, which creates a winning line on I9, 4x3, and also 3x3 on J12. So because of that, you would have to block from below, but even then, you have problems, big problems, because there just has to be a win here. There must be one. And it goes like this. You have to block here, because if you block here, quick combination 4x3 again. So because of that, you have to block on this side, and then after okay, maybe not that obviously. Wait, it must be a window. There must be a win here. Yep, this move could be it. Exactly. So this move, N11, creates a win 4x3 using N12, N14 and N12. And this would be your best block, because the other win is here on L11, 3x3. So this would be your best attempt to block it, because if L11 gets played, you can block with the 4, no drama. But unfortunately for white, this is also not working, because there is a direct VCF here, as you can see on the screen. So anyhow, you will have to block this too. And if you block it from this side, again, a lot of positional advantage there, a lot of ways to attack, create a winning line. And if you go here to prevent these corner or edge attacks, black's just gonna move to the space, progress towards the space, and there's a lot of space there, so it's looking really tough for Jakub Fojtík right now. As expected, of course, J10 arrived rather quickly from Lukáš Souček. It was the obvious move. It's a very strong one. It's positionally, I'm 99% sure it's a black win already, positionally. But let's see how hard Jakub Fojtík can make it for Lukáš Souček to collect this match point, which apparently could easily turn into a tournament point, by the way, because as I have mentioned a few times, this is the last round of the Czech Open 2024. Jakub Fojtík is in troubles against Lukáš Souček right after the beginning phase of this game. I believe the reason why he played L10 instead of J12 is because, you know, playing this move initially, it's something that most Gomoku players that are actually players and know the game at least a little bit, they try to avoid it. It's a basic Gomoku thing. You try to avoid overlining yourself because an overline, which means 6 or more in a row, is not a win in Gomoku. Therefore, you are always aiming to avoid situations where you are overlining yourself without having to. And I believe because of that, he came to the conclusion he is going to play L10, trying to block the same area differently. But J10 is just awfully strong there. I do not really see a way for Jakub Fojtík to get out of this here, especially knowing the fact that Lukáš Souček is great when he has the offensive chances. He has excellent intuitive skills for the attack, which means even if he does not calculate the lines till their ends, he just feels which move is gonna win for him, and oftentimes, more than often, I'd say, he's correct. He's just a naturally good attacker. Which leads us to the question, after we see L12 being played, Jakub Fojtík realizing that he's in trouble, this leads us to the question, what sort of offense are we gonna see from Lukáš Souček now? It's definitely gonna be something spectacular in my opinion, given the freedom here, a lot of space, tempo, black stones wherever you see, white stones far pushed towards the edge surrounded here, useless white stones really. I would immediately play I11, it looks fabulous. It's a great move because yeah, you may block this 3 with the 4, but look at that, it's not giving white any offensive chances. However, for black it's giving further resources. It's just further resources, so white is in a lot of trouble here. Perhaps this move could be attempted, but after that you just extend this 3 above on h12. This has to be blocked here, otherwise it's just an overwhelming advantage, which actually is a winning advantage here. So therefore you have to block on J13. I guess we have time to show it. This would be the next move, h14, to force white to defend, because on f14 you can see a 4x3 and you have to block it somewhere. And wherever you block it, this 3 would get into play, and it would just be an overwhelmingly too many stones for black. It's a win, basically. Wherever white plays its next stone, it's a win. Just a couple of different ways, you know. For example, this one you play here in the middle, You go like that, 4 by 3 over. And wherever else white would try to block this threat, there is a win for black. Therefore, obviously, you would go up. But if you go up, you still don't have anything with white to even try. So black would just go forwards, not even needing to attack directly or anything. Not to mention you have an overline now on the 13th line. Overwhelming advantage. Really, really. Lukáš Souček has it in his hands right now. And the good attacker he is, he played I11 without much of a hesitation. He is surely very happy now. If you can see his face on the camera, he will look calm as always, but inside, I bet the inner child is already celebrating the victory because, you look at this position and you just know it's over. You just know it. I'm pretty sure Bonslish knows what kind of an opportunity he has right now and will do his best and utmost to convert this into a victory, this tremendous advantage. Overall, Jakub Fojtík can be very pleased with his performance overall the tournament. Defeating Miroslav Hasha is definitely a great achievement. It is an achievement because Miroslav is one of the very best of Czechia. No wonder he is 2 times champion of Czechia in a row. And this is gonna be his 3rd time if he somehow wins on coefficient, assuming that he can defeat Stepan Tesasic in the last round, and of course assuming that Lukáš Souček, aka Bonslish, can convert this position into a win, which I would say the chances of him being able to play some nice win in the matter of 20-25 stones maximum, it's like 99.9%. Really, this is something he loves, something he's great at. He has space, tempo, a lot of stones ready to connect. He's gonna win it. No other scenario I can imagine here. Probably Voigtman is right now realizing his situation. He's trying to find a way to get out of it, but it does not look like there is a way out of this. At least. At least not to me, so it could be a indeed epic victory for Lukáš Souček in the Czech Open 2024. On his 10th anniversary, he could be snatching the gold medal, which would be a very nice performance from him. And then it can happen again in case Miroslav Hasha wins, that there will be 2 players, 6 points, they haven't played with each other, so coefficients decide. That would be a bit interesting, 7 rounds are, well, visibly not enough for this amount of players. If you, at least if you want to have a clear result. So Voigtman made his decision, which is to play k9. He wants to look threatening towards his opponent, and the only problem I can see with that is he doesn't really have what he could threaten with. look at that. If you play, it's just a short combination. I can see now. If you play the 3 now with black, white blocks on the right side, of course. Then after, white has this 3, or sorry 2, that it can make into a 3. If you do it like this, black's blocking from below, and you have to defend this VCF threat. And then black just wins with a short combination. If you are attempting this move, same story. This has to be defended. Now a few more ways, because you can make a cut, but you have no continuation. Absolutely no continuation. It's just not working. You're doomed here. You can extend maybe the attack like this, but it's soon hitting its end. There's no continuation. The last thing you can try again is this one. You block from below obviously because you have to, and again, no continuation. White is absolutely doomed there if black plays J11. But it's up to Boneslish to calculate these couple of lines. It shouldn't be big of an issue because it's just a couple of stones you need to calculate. They are not long lines, and in my opinion, you can visibly see that White's attack would lead nowhere at all. Furthermore, Boneslish is kind of famous for, progressing with his own attack and ignoring the other one because there's no win, which is his intuitive opinion, on these positions. Anyhow, even if he does not find J11 to be good enough, he can still simply play whatever he wants, like J8 for example, still an option. Still an option because White still wouldn't have a lot to work with. Although after J8, I8 is an option, and then after White could progress a bit. So maybe J8 is not that good of a move. Anyhow, J11 is a winning one, so Boneslish just needs to take his time now. He has 32 more minutes on his clock, which means 32 minutes to find J11 and close this game with a victory and close Czech Open 2024, his 10th anniversary tournament, with 6 points and possibly a gold medal. I'm curiously looking forward to what Lukáš Souček is gonna do in this situation. I'm like 90% convinced he's gonna play J11 because of before mentioned reasons. White's attacks are simply dead end. With this 1 hour time control, let me bring up some football analogy for you. The games in the first half of them, usually, or first third of them, meaning the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes are usually as if England would play, so it's very boring without a lot of happenings on the board. But oftentimes the ending is more like Spain playing. It's creative, it's entertaining. There's a lot of offense ongoing, as well as quick transitions, sometimes some active gameplay, especially when the two players are in mutual time trouble and there's quite some space left empty on the board for them to use, which has been the case in this tournament so far for Bogdan Brahacek quite a few times against Stepan Tesajic or Pavel Laube. He had very exciting endgame with both of them and eventually triumphed in both games, which of course is a great accomplishment, and that clearly shows how his blitz experience pays off. Many times I have heard that blitz is not good, it's not real, Gomoku, whatever, yada, all these things, but people fail to realize that there is, of course, a huge difference between playing with 1 hour time control and 1 minute time control. However, if you are proficient in blitz, that can come in handy very much when you are experiencing a time trouble in a live tournament game, whether the time control is 20 minutes, 60 minutes, 120 minutes, regardless. When you have time trouble, it's that little time you have. You need some reflexes, you need some blitz skills to still be able to trap your opponent, to outplay him. And Bogdan Brahacek definitely has acquired those skills, being one of the very best of Gomoku Blitz players. And now he's showcasing these acquired skills in a in a tournament with a time control of 60 minutes. 4 points after 6 rounds. And of course, I don't know the result of his game, which is probably still ongoing. But he may as well finish with 5 points, which is a very decent performance for sure among such strong players. Because this year, the list of participants in the Czech Open 2024 have definitely quite a few strong players, as well as veterans, as well as young players. Well, some of the young players are Gomoku wise could be considered somewhat a veteran, with their experience of playing 10 years or so, in spite of being like 25. These things should not be underestimated. Meanwhile, Lukáš Souček is still analyzing the position, he is still calculating. I guess double checking is not enough when the stakes are that high. He wants to triple check, he wants to quadruple check to ensure that J11 or any move he has in mind now is the one that's gonna win him this game and perhaps the tournament, or rather, I shall say, likely the tournament as well. Because I don't think the coefficients will change super much. Therefore, the winner of this game is likely, regardless of the result between Miroslav Hasha and Stepan Tesaji. Gonna be the winner of the tournament as well. Tense moments for Lukáš Souček and also for Jakub Fojtík, because he's in the doorway of a great opportunity. And, a bit changed since the start of the game, because at the start of the game it was 50-50. Now he is in a much worse situation odds wise, you know. Regardless, he's still, as long as the game is ongoing, he still has a chance to win it, and he can still be very, very much hopeful that Lukáš Souček makes a mistake which could allow him to somehow win this game and finish first in this great run that he produced in the Czech Open 2024. Hopes are yet to die for Jakub Fojtík. They could die soon though once Lukáš Souček plays J11, although the fact that he is taking really this long just shows me that he is not entirely sure in it, or that he maybe has a very different idea. Normally, I would expect him to play J11 very, very quickly, but the stakes are high, so naturally he's taking it probably more seriously than I have to say usually he does. "23 and a half minutes remain for Lukáš Souček when he's on the move in a likely winning position against Jakub Fojtík in the last round of this year's Czech Open in Pardubice in the Czech Republic. A little more than an hour has elapsed since they started this game and since the players started this round. Therefore, I'm expecting a couple of other games to be played still, to be still ongoing, but in case I get to know some other results, I'm gonna share with you. For now, I can see that the game between Miroslav Hasha and Stepan Tesajic has ended, but I don't know the outcome of it. But the chairs are empty for a while now. And Lukáš Souček is still thinking. Is he gonna play J11? Is he gonna play J8? Or some other alternative? I bet we shall find out soon. For now, he's still thinking. So maybe until he is, let's explore some options then. We said J8 is also a possibility. But then, with this scenario, it could be advantageous for white. Although, maybe not like that. Maybe more like this. And then again, it should be, well, maybe played like this. But also not. Because now this would be the winning line. So, perhaps it's still not good enough for white. On the other hand, maybe this move is also possible. Because, yeah, now you have to take care of this threat. And by doing so, you cannot use either of these, because if you do, it's just bad for you. You're losing. And if you don't play the 4 but play here, this 3 blocks it. Once again, black's just gonna attack you. Finish the game. So maybe a more passive approach would appear again. Again, white can be kind of ignored here. This move looks really nice to me, h10, because even if this gets played, if you want to proceed attacking here, you have a VCF with black, so meaning white cannot at all try anything like that there. So it does appear that even J8 would be a good option for Lukáš Souček. But he sided with something else. Something completely different, which I would not have imagined. He decided to play here. And now Jakub Fojtík is deciding between blocking it on J11 or M11. I think he has to block it in the middle, of course. Where else? Where else would he block it? Has to be the middle one. A bit surprised I am. I definitely did not expect Bonsic to play this move. But he spent a lot of time on it. And he came up with this variant. And to me it looks like he rendered the game into a rather drawish position. I mean, white has to block in the middle. It's more obvious than anything. Because where are you going with right side, right? Block from below. White wasted, no resources at all. Black can push again. Same story. But if you go in the middle, black cannot that easily continue the attack because some indirect move is not gonna work now because the VCF counter is gone. Is gone for good, and that means white can attack and has space and means to attack. Therefore, white needs to be stopped from doing that activity, and with that, white can come back to the game and defend. And the block from the middle is there from Jakub Fojtík. Holy moly, what's gonna be the outcome of this? Lukáš Souček, under 20 minutes, in my opinion, made a considerable mistake now. And to me, this position looks absolutely drawish. Really, really drawish. Oh my, oh my. That was unexpected. Totally. But at least, hey, at least we have a more interesting stream probably, because if this position is drawish, that means we can see maybe an exciting endgame with mutual time trouble. And perhaps there will be a draw. And because of this, I'm really curious now to know if Miroslav Hasha won against Stepan Tesasic or not. So I should go and message him. It's something I need to know. Because that could be very decisive. Because if he won, a draw is good neither for Lukáš Souček nor for Jakub Fojtík. At the same time, I need to check the standings to see if anyone else could have, with their coefficients, some chances for a medal. Well, Stepan Tesasic, Lukáš Meixner, and Igor Eged may have. They have not bad coefficients. But I don't know their results. But I'm eager to find out. So right now I texted Miroslav Hasha to find out his result from the last round. Let's see what he answers. This is why it took so long for Lukáš Souček to play a move. He could not find the lines. And he decided to defend. But doing so, he kind of rendered the position into a draw. Now he has 16 and a half minutes. Miroslav Hasha just told me that he actually won in the last round against Stepan Tesasic, which means he currently has 6 points, with the two we're currently watching have 5 apiece. So a draw is not good for either of them. What's gonna be the outcome of this very important medal match in the Czech Open 2024? Lukáš Souček decided to attack. This could have been his plan all along. Can it work? That's the question. Can this attempt work out for him? Possibly a safe I12 is incoming from Jakub Fojtík. I don't think he wants to risk a lot, especially that this way he cannot really attack due to the cut and the counter. Ergo, a safe and solid I12, no direct continuation of an attack. I12 looks good to me for white. Looks like an okay move, so to speak. overall maybe even a bit giving soon the tempo to white if Lukáš Souček is not careful enough. And I-12 is there. It's there, no mistakes at this stage from Jakub Fojtík, who can cherish because his solution was successful, I have to say, because he managed to trick Bone Slash into this position. He made him defend and rendered the position into a draw. Very, very exciting moments. Lukáš Souček less than 40 minutes, with Jakub Fojtík has 24. And now Lukáš Souček plays a positional move, I7. In my opinion, he made the right decision here. It was time to play a positional move. But overall, the position is still drawish. Perfectly fine for Jakub Fojtík, if he is careful enough, of course. Of course. He's at least good for a draw. But it's of course a long way ahead. It's not gonna be an easy game. It's definitely not gonna be an easy game for him. What I would do is probably take h12 because it's an important one. You don't want to give it to black, you want to control black in the area. Then after you can play a move like this, for example. It controls the area spectacularly well, I have to say. Then it's even white advantage probably this way. Some attempts can be tried by black there, but overall, at this point, I would prefer white. He plays simply here, so now this could be played by black, and it could put black back into advantage, I guess. Some advantage at the very least. Yeah, I would definitely play h12 here with black, no wonder. Maybe the block would be g13 after it. Then you still have some space, not super much, and not super great position, but you can build an attack again. You can trap your opponent somehow. There is space, there is enough space for that. h12 on the board by Lukáš Souček. Quick response from Jakub Fojtík. G13, as expected. So now the question again in a drawish position is whether one of them, Lukáš Souček being on the move, whether one of them can build a decisive advantage from this position. There's space, there's chance for it, for either of them, for both of them. But can one of them do it? Lukáš Souček is definitely the more experienced one, not to mention that he's naturally just really good with his attacks. Although this L11 was definitely a mistake in this game. He had such a good run before that with I11, perfect move. Perfect one, but really L11 was not a good decision. Right now though, he has a second chance to build something here. And he sides with H13. A rather passive move. Not sure where he's heading with. I'm expecting H10 from Fojtman. It has to come. It really has to. Cause what then? What then? Black can try this, it's dead end. No, not enough. And white will gain an extra line here for a future attack. I deem this attempt insufficient. Regardless, Jakub Fojtman on the move, and this H10 hasn't been played yet, although I'm pretty convinced this move has to come. It has to. You have to control that area, you have to control the lines of black, and that's the best way of doing it. But he sides with H11 instead, which is kind of worse. Let me show why. White has no lines again, no threat, whilst H10 would give some threat. Now this move, F10, could be played to create some lines for black. And it may not be super much. On the long run, it could work out for Lukáš Souček, who instead decides to use G9, slightly different, because this way he's giving up a couple of lines here, and F10 can be played by white now. They are being a bit hectic now, although both of them have plenty of time. Lukáš Souček 12.5 minutes, Jakub Fojtík above 20 minutes, F10 being played by Fojtman already. What could be the plan of Lukáš Souček here? I'm not entirely sure. That G10 was played way too quickly. Not playing H10 though was definitely a mistake. Position is again drawish. They're getting lower and lower on space. With every move they play, it's just, you're using up valuable space on the board. Boneslash keeps on attacking. He plays this 3. Two options here really. You can go for a positional spatial block or go in the middle. I think the middle has to be played because you need finally some lines to threaten your opponent. Especially here could be some nice counters. And the middle block is already on the board from Jakub Fojtík. Still, this young player is in the doorway of a great opportunity after that early L11 mistake from Lukáš Souček. with a draw, Jakub Fojtík would surely get a medal in this championship. Lukáš Souček being aggressive there. He is risking it. He's risking it. He knows he needs a win. He knows it. He really knows it, and he's going for it. He's not scared to do that. White now needs to do some countermeasures, obviously, to stop the black threats. Well, this could probably work. Probably, yeah. Anyhow, we need to see what Jakub Fojtík is gonna react to this. It's not that easy. Definitely, a block like this is not that great because Black's just gonna launch an attack. And even if it ain't a winning one, it's gonna be an overwhelming one at the very least. Challenging position, and the stakes are high for both of them. Miroslav Hasha told me that he would be first in case Lukáš Souček wins this game and Bogdan Brahacek defeats Igor Aged, and he added that the position looks not bad for Bogdan in the other game. So that's the info I have. It might happen that even though Lukáš Souček wins this game, he does not get the gold medal, and it would also mean that the first and second did not play with each other, which is always a very weird scenario and not the right one in my opinion. Anyhow, Jakub Fojtík on the move with 70 minutes remaining for him. He needs to come up with a defensive plan now, after Lukáš Souček puts him to test with his offensive attempt. Very tense and exciting moments in this very last round in the Czech Open 2024, in the match between Lukáš Souček and Jakub Fojtík. when we have the quick comeback, the quick reply from Lukáš Souček there. He has his plan ready. But what about Jakub Fojtík? What about his plan here? Is he also ready with his plan? There could be a not too bad defensive option for him here. Maybe if this gets blocked here, for example, this could be an interesting line. Good defense. Because of that, this would probably be blocked here still. This would be played, and this would still be blocked one of these places. Possibly here. And then, it's still not easy to defend. Not very, very easy. Still tough for Jakub Fojtík. Lukáš Souček risked it, went for the attack, and it could pay off for him. It could easily pay off for him. Jakub Fojtík once again in troubles. He's in trouble. He somehow needs to pose a counter threat. This is the only way for him. But he needs to use those stones in the middle area. That is the only way for Jakub Fojtík to survive here. Straight defending would not be enough. Maybe something like this could work. Yeah, because like this you get quite a good position. You can survive easily, rather easily. You can still even threaten here, actually. So if maybe this block gets played, you can still threaten here. You play these lines. And then you come here, because here you can attack. And because you can't do that, black needs to defend. And after that, you can just solidify your position like this, even if you don't want to attack anymore. So maybe something like this could work. But definitely, he has to pose a threat. Without that, it's not working. And of course, the reason why this has to be blocked above is this one. There's a white win if blocked from below. So maybe this move on h7 is not bad at all for him. Of course, this blocking it like this would not be super good. Doesn't look super good. So I'm wondering. He's slightly below 11 minutes. The young Czech player, still thinking about a possible defense. And as I've said, he needs to pose a threat. I've shown you two ways to do it. They could work for white, but you have to see quite a few moves ahead to see that they could work. One thing's for sure though, it's rather easy to identify the fact that you cannot play a simple defensive move in this position because it would guarantee you that you're losing with a simple defensive move. You just can't go forwards. Therefore, once it becomes clear to you, you have to think of a more creative way of surviving in this position and maybe even launching a counter attack or something, because it could be possible in this position to do that. It's not easy though. Anyhow, once it becomes clear to you that you have to pose a threat, you have to use your stones for the defense, for the continuation, when you realize it's a must, then there are only a few options for you to calculate with. And after doing that, I believe the conclusion has to be h7 on the long run for Jakub Fojtík for his next move. Let's see if he can find it. Let's see if he comes to the same conclusion as I have, or he will try something different. Anyhow, this game is not yet over, although it might be depending on the next move. And Jakub Fojtík is below 8.5 minutes now. Time is going to be pressing him soon enough. Soon enough. But for now, 8.5 minutes, well, at the moment, slightly more than 8 minutes. Still plenty of time to finish the game once you have found your proper defensive combination, the continuation of the game. For the next couple of moves, you can force black where to put his next ones, which is quite advantageous when devising your strategy. If you know where black will have to put its stones, then it's much easier to plan strategically ahead. Jakub Fojtík reaches for a stone. He has made his decision. It's not h7, it's j8. One thing's for clear though, he did realize he cannot just cower back and defend. Definitely right on that. So let's see what Lukáš Souček does now. He blocks it from below, which is the right decision in my opinion. Now maybe still h7 needs to be played though. Otherwise, black could get quite some advantage. Okay, a different move has been played. He played a 4 first. Of course, the block is coming in. So, pretty sure on his next move he's gonna play f11. Based on the continuation, yes, he did. But apparently, I believe it has to be blocked from above. Because it looks like there would be... Or would there? Can white win here? Because it's blocked. Then the block can come from below. And if it comes from below, that's a little bit threatening. Or maybe more than a little bit. Well, if there's no win here, black blocks from below could easily be problematic. Something like this would probably happen, don't know. Not super sure. Maybe first this to overline. Something like this. Yeah, although this would need to be blocked here because of this line, yeah. Win here, win here. Therefore, once this would be played, you have to block here. But even after that, it's just too much to deal with. It's way too much. Above. So maybe still a chance for Jakub Fojtík to prolong this game. It looks like the video quality is not being the super very best right now. So this move was played anyhow. And this way it could be a draw easily. Look at that. Block in the middle. Play here, play here, play here. I said play here. 4, 4, 4. Block, block, block. You block the situation. Oh, sorry, you would have to play this one as well, because there would be a win otherwise. But this, like this, it's blocked. Yeah, let me go back. Oh, okay, Lukáš Souček decides to block it from the outside. He wants to keep as many offensive options to himself as it is possible. So then probably simply h7 on the next move should do the job. A different approach though. Okay, Lukáš Souček needs to make his next decision. There was a little interruption with the stream, but it should be back on track. At least I see it clearly. Lukáš Souček needs to play a defensive stone there. Yes, he defends, and now 8-7 because you want to overline your opponent here. 8-7. Jakub Fojtík has his fate in his own hands. Shortly below 5 minutes, Fojtman. Lukáš Souček on 6.5 minutes. Fojtík needs to realize the situation. He needs to play a defensive line. Nothing to attack here. Fair and square. But there is a good defensive combination for him. A nice one. And he needs to go for it. 8-7. Come on, my guy. 8-7. What a dude. This is great. Great Gomoku from Jakub Fojtík right there. 8-7, he finds it, plays it. I have to say that at this point, it's becoming quite a relevant option that Miroslav Hása could be the champion of Czechia for the third time in a row. A draw here is looking likely. As much as Lukáš Souček is unhappy about it, for sure, he must be. A draw here is looking likely. He plays this move, but the overlining is unavoidable at this point. And what you gonna do here? Not a lot you can. Really, not a lot you can. After this, the position is, well, I wouldn't say unwinnable, but especially in time trouble. But it would take significant skills and even maybe some luck. Although I don't necessarily believe in luck. So let's just say it would take a blunder to win from here. Especially if Fojtík plays this move, e8. He needs to play that. It's overlining even further. Good defensive move in the area is something he needs. But he plays h6. So Souček still cannot play this move because there would be a win for white here. White is threatening. Therefore, I'm expecting this move to come from black the next, or maybe this, but this is likelier. This would give another overline on the diagonal line there. Therefore, h5 is the logical one. h5 on the board. Jakub Fojtík below 3.5 minutes. What's gonna happen here? What's gonna happen? Lukáš Souček shaking his head. He cannot believe that after so much time, still nothing for him. This move needs to be played, and then something like this, total draw. It's a total draw. Jakub Fojtík needs to play the move. Nothing to think about. Here you're fighting for survival. You don't have a good enough position to attack. But apparently it appears to me that he is missing this 4 for him. He played this move. Almost surely this is coming from black. and it's more than threatening. It's a very, very threatening move. So Lukáš Souček still may have some chances. Oh yeah, he went for it. Of course, obviously. What else? What else? He went for it. Miroslav Hasha just told me that Bogdan Brahacek defeated Igor Aged, so the Slovak finished after a perfect Sunday without a single point. And the match between Vukas Meixner and Maciej Holub ended in a draw, which means, as he explained to me, that he's only a champion with a draw. If Lukáš Souček wins this game, he's the champion of Czechia in 2024. Jakub Fojtík, soon below 2 minutes, thinking he missed that crucial mistake. Really crucial mistake in this situation. He may still be able to survive though. He plays here, tries to threaten, sorry. This has been played. So he plays here, tries to survive. Not a bad idea because there's no VC off, and without a VC off, you have to block. And once you block, you can go back here. Nothing, there's nothing there. So still may be survivable for Jakub Fojtík, which would benefit Miroslav Hasha. Lukáš Souček, probably knowing that he needs a win, he's gonna do everything he possibly could just to take the win here. Slightly below 4 minutes soon. Lukáš Souček on the move. He needs a defensive move right now. He definitely does need a defensive move due to the 3x3 threat on J5. Is it? Yeah, J5. So because that, he needs a defensive move right now, which means he is not gonna have probably a winning attack left after Jakub Fojtík plays his next defensive move. Lukáš Souček plays the expected defensive move, realized nothing else could work, so right now Jakub Fojtík can still very much defend this position easily, but I think he needs e7 to do that. One thing's for sure, Lukáš Souček will not accept a draw here. He has to fight till the very end. Wow. What's gonna happen here? What is gonna happen? This move was played by White. I'm most surprised. There was no good attack here. I believe Jakub Fojtík is definitely underestimating this area. I feel like this move is gonna come. This move is gonna come. And once it does, be careful, you know. Only reason why I wouldn't try this to further give some threats, because you can't use this line and then it's not giving enough. White defended this one, White can go back here. Because of that, because of this combination, I would definitely play this one and try to create something in that area. I believe there's enough space to do that. Although, Lukáš Souček played here. So, after all, it's good that I explained why I would not play there. Let's see if Fojtík finds the defense to it, but nope, he plays here. A different measure. Maybe he's not realizing he has this 4 as well. after the crucial mistake of not realizing this four, allowing Lukáš Souček to play his stone on e8. Holy smokes. Slightly more than 2 minutes remain for Lukáš Souček. I would still go for e7. e7. Looks like a great move to me. Look at his hand, he's very nervous. In the decisive moments of the tournament. In the very last round, in the very last minutes of the very last round. Lukáš Souček, below 2 minutes already, needs to play the next move. His final attempt on winning the game. And Jakub Fojtík, less than 30 seconds. He needs to keep defending on this situation. c7 was played. I believe this might not be sufficient now. On the other hand, c8 may be sufficient. Because after that continuation, this might be viable, but it may not be viable. Oh wait. Tricky Lukáš Souček. This being played though, this is coming. So where you move your next stone, you have to play it here. This has to come now. But it didn't. It didn't. This move is the next one, and it means there's a black win here. Look at that combination. You play here. You play this one. There's a win here. There's one here. It's over. It is game over. Okay, there was even a different win. Even a different win. It's just over. So that means Lukáš Souček is the champion of Czechia in 2024. Look at him, he's so happy. He's 2 moves away from winning and he needs to take a drink. Finally, he is calm. He could trap his opponent after this very, very long and eventful game. Now he managed to trap his opponent. A little bit of cockiness, waiting a minute to play his next move. Regardless, victory is his. Jakub Fojtík reaches to congratulate him. Game's over. Ladies and gentlemen, the champion of Czechia in 2024 is Lukáš Souček. Second place taken by Miroslav Hasha for sure, being the only other 6 points player. It's a pity that the first and the second place once more did not play with each other. 2 medalists who did not play with each other. Anyhow, Jakub Fojtík did well, for sure, in this tournament, so my congratulations also go to him, as well as to Lukáš Souček. With that, I thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this live broadcast. I hope next time I will be able to stream more. I hope next time there will be more information provided from a live tournament of such caliber. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in and see you next time. Cheers.